All right, my YouTube channel. All right, we're here, man. The very first Black Equity Conversations, because you know we got the Black Equity Con coming up, right? We got the Black Equity Conference coming up, so it's only right we do the Black Equity Conversations.
Yeah.
Jeremy Anderson, what's up, man? How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling blessed, brother. Feeling blessed, man. How you feeling? Good to see you. Why?
I'm amazing, man. I'm amazing. Hey, you know we about to get into your all your personal business, right?
Okay. All right, let's go.
I'm talking about like all your personal business. Like I really want to know like what's happening in your life, like how you're handling the conversation of equity. You cool with that?
Okay, let's go.
Okay. All right. So in our community, we don't really talk about equity, right? What the word equity means. So when you just first off, introduce yourself, Jeremy, because I don't know if they know how dope you are just yet. So we got to educate them. So tell me, introduce yourself, brother.
Yeah, Jeremy Anderson, husband, I'm father, I'm saying man of God by trade, motivational speaker, author, serial entrepreneur. We've got a lot of different businesses, curriculum companies, advertising agencies, trucking companies. Like we got a lot of extra cool things that we were able to do and build out. And yeah, a brother to David Shands, you know what I'm saying, here in Atlanta. And so, yeah, glad to be here, man. Let's get it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so when you hear the word equity, what's the first thing that pops in your mind? Equity.
So I do training on equity, and I try to help people understand something, right? This is how I help those, especially those in the educational space that might not look like us. I tell them, I say, equality is if it's lunchtime and we have a whole pizza pie, right? Equality says you get 4 slices and I get 4 slices, because that would be equal, right? That would be equality. You get 4, I get 4. Equity says if you haven't eaten in 2 days, or maybe you get 5 slices and I'll just get 3, right? Maybe you get 6 slices and I get 2. So when I look at equity, I look at how do we move to where things are not just equal, but everybody's having an equal chance. Everybody's having an equal opportunity. So I view like equity is on the person that holds the power, that holds the influence, that maybe holds or controls the systems that can truly make things equal for different parties of people. So that's my first thing that kind of came up my dome.
I like that. So
Okay.
the first thing I'm gonna start with the most obvious, right? Where we typically associate equity with a home, right? So you bought your first home in Alabama, yes?
Mm-hmm.
So talk to me about, like some of if you kind of know some of the numbers or the situation surrounding that first home purchase.
Yeah, so our first home that we built, it was like, our first home was like 1,600 square feet, you know what I'm saying, in Madison, Alabama, right up the street from Huntsville, and I think we maybe bought the house for like maybe $180,000. That was probably, 10 years ago. And so we've got somebody in there now that's been renting the house. She's actually our realtor slash my aunt, like one of my best friend's moms. And she's older now. She's not able to be as mobile, and she is nestled there. So she's the ideal tenant because we ain't got the hardwood's in perfect shape, the granite's in perfect shape, but that's who's there now. So we bought that first house. Yeah, close to about 10 years ago.
About how much did you pay?
About 180,000.
Have you looked at what it's worth now?
Oh man, probably about 260. I ain't gonna lie, bro. We itching to sell it, but auntie in there. Auntie in there. We not hurting, so it's like, man, stay and that's it. We don't even want her to even know
Right.
that we're ready to sell it because
Right.
got a lot of equity in there, and the market is hot right now.
Right. Well, she might be watching this, so cat's out the bag. So you spent about 180. You spent about 180 on a home. So I think the first lesson is buy a home now. In 10 years, it will be worth more. Would that be would that be something you bet on?
Absolutely. I mean, people are talking about inflation and everything right now, but real estate across the board is going bonkers. And so, yeah, I would definitely say You know what I'm saying? Beyond the normal stuff like living on your liens and the interest rate and all of that. But yeah, definitely buy a house, because what we're seeing across the country, and it's been a constant trend, is that it's rising.
Yeah. I don't think there's not one home that's worth less now than it was 10 years ago. So, and I don't even know if you know the answer to this, but you bought it for 180. You could probably sell it for 260 now. Do you know how much you owe on that 180?
Shoot. I can hit Tracy and get a guaranteed answer because she pays all the bills.
Just say I don't know, Jeremy. Just say my wife runs the finances, and I
Oh, for
don't
sure,
know.
for sure. How much do we owe on the house in HSB? She finna be like, why are you asking that? What's your Dave got going on? You know what I'm saying? But I put it to you like this. I mean, if we were to sell the house, I mean, we're gonna easily come up on, $120,000, like easy. Like I do know we have a lot of equity in the house. We made some improvements and it's been in great shape. I mean, bro, we was there, covered, like we added some stuff to it, and it's in still great shape. And so yeah, we got a lot of equity there. Yeah.
I like that. Okay, a tougher conversation. Okay, so you have a publishing company, yes?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if I'm an author and you're publishing my book, I wouldn't own 100% of my book. Is that right?
Correct. Correct.
Meaning you would have equity in what I produced, right? So walk me through how this works in terms of how you gain equity and why an author would do this.
Yeah, so if you were to go to Penguin or to Thomas Nelson or one of the big time storefront, publishers, they would offer you 20%,
Whoa,
maybe
whoa, whoa, whoa,
30%
whoa, whoa. What you mean? What you mean?
of your book. Like if they say yes, David, we would love to purchase, we would love to publish your next book, How to Become a Podcast King or Queen. We would love to publish that book, and you're gonna get 20% royalties. And then as your agent, you get the best agent. You might negotiate them all the way to 30, maybe even 40% royalties.
So the company will will own 60% of the book?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's all, you know what? It's all in publishing is very, very close to the record industry as well, because they're going to be paying for the promotion. They're going to be paying for the tour. They're going to be paying for the printing of the book. They're going to be paying for all of the marketing, all of the branding. Like they're going to be putting all of that up. And so for them to be able to get that investment back, they say, hey, we need a big piece, but we'll give you a small piece. So what we said, what we wanted to do as a faith-based, Black-owned publishing company, we said, man, we want to put people in a position of power and of equity, so you have the big piece. So we actually do a 70-30 split for our authors, where we say, hey, we take the small piece, 30%, we give you the big piece, but we do all the work. So we literally help authors go from concept, like I got ideas, I want to write the book. All right, we're going to help you, guide you through the writing process. We're going to get it edited. We're going to do the layout, the copyright, the barcode, the ISB, and the Library of Congress. You own the rights to your book. We just get a 30% royalty on the back end. But you own the complete, like it's your book. Like we're not even on the registration for it. You know what I'm saying? But the rights are, the book is in your name. We just get 30% for all the work that we put in.
So what is? I'm trying to understand how do I own it? So if I come to the publishing company, I still own 100% of my book. You just get 30% of the profits. Meaning, if I sell the book to somebody else, would you get 30% of those profits?
Right. No. So we start off with a year or two contract, and we might say up to 5,000 books, or up to 10,000 books, or up to 2,000 books. You follow me there?
Right.
So we're not trying to Suge Knight you in this thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you feel me? Like, we ain't gonna do you like that. Like, once it gets to a point, if you decide to go with someone else, David Shands Publishing, 2 years from now, like that's okay. But while we have this agreement within this time span, a year or two or three, or up to 2, 3, 4, 5,000 books, like this is our agreement here.
And why do you not accept just payment for your work versus Equity? Like, how much does it cost for you to put my book together? I'm gonna go sell it. Let me just pay you.
Because we really focused on equity. Most people might not have $7,000, $8,000 cash to drop. They coming to us with a manuscript. They coming to us because they know we got the cash. They know we had the capital. You know what I'm saying? That's like an artist, a record artist saying, you know what, like I got some lyrics and I wrote out all these rhymes. I can't afford studio time. I can't afford a photo shoot. I can't afford none of this. So you come to me with a manuscript, it needs to be edited, 2-3 different editors, the layout, the illustrations, like we'll do all of that. So many times they're coming to us and they don't really have that big investment to say, hey, let me just cash you out. There are some people that says, hey, let me just stroke a check, 6, 7, 8 grand, and then you just do all the work and let me get 100%. I'm okay with that because now I ain't got to wait for 30% royalties hoping you sell your books. Let me keep it all the way 1,000 with you.
Talk to
Let me
me.
do all the way 1,000 with you. You know why I really I'm not excited about the current business model? It's because we end up getting the short end of the stick trying to look out for our people. Because, you know, we do all this work, we put in all this work, we talk about equity. All right, now you want to talk about equity? All right, let's talk about how we got to make sure that we do us right. Because now it's like I put in all this work and I've done all this work and now your book is published. It's amazing. That's not going to look like it could be a New York Times bestseller, but now you're not doing your part. Now you can't sell past 200 copies of the book. You can't sell past 600 copies of the book. And now I got 1,500 copies sitting up in the warehouse and I'm paying for it. You feel me? That's a whole nother conversation. So when we really got into this business, we knew this would be an uphill battle. But we said, let's just do right by our people. Let's do the best we can to put them in the best position since they can't afford just to cash out. Let's have faith in them and their dreams. And hopefully they do right and they handle their business and they're able to move the books and products.
Gotcha. And I think you have a tight grasp on what it looks like to own, right? Because you own a bunch of businesses, right? What are some of the businesses that you own?
So we've got our speaking company, we've got our K through 12 social and emotional learning character curriculum that's in schools, next level students. We got our next level trucking company. We have our next level advertising agency. We have our next level speakers academy. I got a couple nonprofits. So we've got quite a few things going on.
Do you alone own Next Level? Is there a way you can kind of break down like the structure of like, here's a business and all of this stuff is under the business? Is it LLCs and escrow? I don't know if you know that. If you're that deep.
It's the parent mother company is the Jeremy Anderson Group.
Jeremy Anderson Group.
Yeah.
Who owns that?
Jeremy Anderson Group. And underneath that, it's all the other businesses and entities.
Who owns that? Jeremy Anderson Group.
I do.
100% you.
Yeah.
Tracy ain't got no equity in that?
Man, Tracy is the Jeremy Anderson Group. You feel me?
So who's the one? And the only reason I'm saying this is because I'm going through like restructuring, right? Like of the organization.
As are we. Yeah.
So I'm trying to get in your business.
Yeah. So when we go to the banks, like it's all in me. She's a signer on every single account, like all of that. But this is not something where it's like Jeremy and Tracy both have to sign as co-owners. Like I am the sole owner. Now, of course, we have the stuff set up with our trust. So she all up in there, but I am the sole owner of the Jeremy Anderson Group.
Contractually, you are the owner, 100% owner of the Jeremy Anderson Group. Gotcha.
Correct.
So Next Level is owned by the Jeremy Anderson Group.
Correct.
Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Do we have, and I'm going somewhere with this because I'm literally just learning this stuff now. The Next Level brand that you own, is it owned by Jeremy Anderson Group alone or the Jeremy Anderson Group and Jeremy Anderson himself?
So all the individual brands are separately. So like our trucking company, because when we first started off, it didn't really have the capital, but the Jeremy Anderson Group had the capital. We did a DBA. And then after they saw all that money coming in and we was official, we branched it off to where it was completely separate. So now it stands on its own, not necessarily underneath the Jeremy Anderson Group, if that makes sense. So some of the companies are specifically under there, but then we have some that are outside of it.
Gotcha. Do you have any entities where you are not the sole 100% owner contractually?
No, but I do have just about all of our entities, people within our organization, they get a piece of the pie contractually.
Profit sharing,
Correct.
but not necessarily ownership in the brand, because that's
Correct.
dangerous.
Correct.
Gotcha, gotcha. So,
you said
would you?
you said because that's dangerous.
Oh, it is 100% because there's a difference. Like people got to understand, there's a difference between equity and profit sharing. Profit sharing, you're doing people right, 100%. But when someone has equity in the company, that's a whole nother piece. Question for you.
But no. I'm sorry. So we do have another business. Yes. So we do have another business because we started another company. And so some of our business partners are Toby, and Alex, ET, Jamal, CJ. So we came together, and so with that one, we are all individual owners, not profit share, like
So all you
contractually.
guys are owners. All of y'all have equity in this one entity.
Yes. Yes.
Mm.
And the company for that is Next Level Advertising Agency. Is the company name that's under along their individual company names that collectively own this other entity company we just launched.
Whose idea was it?
Me and CJ's.
Do
We
the people who came up with the idea, you and CJ, do you have a majority ownership stake?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is good. These are these are the conversations you gotta have, right? Like equity, like some people probably they're in an agreement and they think they have equity in something when you're just enjoying, just because you get 50% of the profits doesn't mean you have equity in a company, right?
Right.
Question for you. I say to you, Jeremy, you got the Next Level group, host of companies, right? For me to have equity in that, what would I have to bring to the table? Or are you saying I wouldn't ever give anybody equity in that because it's a family business?
Oh, under the Jeremy Anderson
So we
group?
got Jeremy Anderson Group, and I need parts of that Next Level because you got Next Level curriculum, Next Level trucking. I want equity in that company. What type of value would I have to bring, or is that just non-negotiable?
Um, so no. It's everything's negotiable, but I can't even think of what that will look like if you said, "Hey, I want to come in and write a check." Like if you was like, "Bro, today, bro, I write a check for 10 million and I just want a small piece across the board." I'd be like, "Man, bro, I'm good because we blessed now, but ain't no telling what 2024 gonna look like." You feel me? And so I cannot, I cannot say. But I will never say never because everything is negotiable. You know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, yeah, I'll leave it at that right there.
Let me ask you. You and I have a idea and a company together, right? When it comes to equity, what are you thinking of? Yo, me and Jeremy, we about to start this business together. We about to start a fish fry right off Cleveland Avenue. We're gonna start a fish fry together. I'm your boy. You my boy. In terms of equity, what kind of questions go through your head? Is the first
Yeah,
thing you like, yo, we 50-50. I own 50, you own 50. What do you think?
right. Right, and you, man, Precious said something so real. You right, you ain't never lied, Precious. She said that's how I am athlete broke up. So I'll say this: I love the idea. I've got some partners of mine that I went to college with, some partners of mine, man, that I was, in the streets with, some partners of mine, man, that I went to high school with, that I would love to be able to say, hey, let's all come together and start something, and we all have equity in it. But they would have to, if they're not, and I wouldn't mind putting up the capital. I wouldn't mind putting up all of the capital if you can come with the expertise and do the day to day so I don't have to touch it.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that, because some people will be like, hey, if we're going to split it 50-50, then I'm going to have to come in 50-50. But at some point, it's like, yo, that loyalty, that love, that bond, 20, 30 years of friendship should speak for something. I want to see people win. You know what I'm saying? Jay-Z said, like, yo, if you're the only one in your clique that's winning, you really losing. Like, I really feel that way. But if you are not able to bring in the financial resources or the knowledge, the skills, the know-how, and you feel me? Like, if I have to shadow you, if I gotta coach you, if I have to still be in it. I asked Jamal King, shout out to the homie Jamal King, my business partner, 95 Millionaire. We were doing dinner in Chicago a few months ago. I said, Jamal, how many streams of income you got? He the big homie. He like, I got this many. He's like, he stopped at like 17. I was like, bro, that's a lot. You know what I'm saying? They all win. You know how some people talk about streams of income. It's like, bro, you really did about 400,000. They all killing it. And he was like, but Jeremy, the question is, how many streams of income do I have where I don't have to be involved in it? So that's where my brain is now. So if anybody comes to me now with a business opportunity, I don't mind putting up the capital, but I don't want to touch it.
You don't want to do nothing.
And so these are the type of conversations. If I bring the capital, if I bring the investment, like, are you bringing the labor? Are you bringing the manpower? Are you bringing the strategy? Are you bringing the mindset that can help this thing, cross over the finish line? So those are the initial conversations I would have.
I love that. I got to put a pin in it real quick. Y'all, listen, we are having these Black equity conversations. We are here with Jeremy Anderson, multi-entrepreneur. Like, I don't know if that's a word, multi-entrepreneur. Like, he's an entrepreneur. Serial entrepreneur, killing it. We are going to be in Miami June 9th and 10th for the Black Equity Con. Black Equity Con, we're having Black Equity conversations, but the Black Equity Conference is coming up June 9th and 10th, and you about to be in a room with a whole bunch of millionaires and multimillionaires. Jeremy, you going to be there?
Oh, you already know, bro.
Okay, good.
Let me see if Ebony put it on the calendar. What's the dates?
June 9th and 10th. BlackEquityCon.com. If you go to BlackEquityCon.com, facilitating an event where you are going to be able to see these people who are actually killing it in business. But what the conversation?
Hundreds of presenters.
Come on, man. 3,000 plus people from all across the world. To have certain conversations. Yo, Jeremy, you know the conversation we're having right now? Some people have never even thought about.
Right.
Somebody, I'm going to share this with you. This guy came to me 2 weeks ago, and he said, yo, I want to give you equity in my company. He said, yo, it has a dope concept too. It's a brand. And he's like, yo, listen, you could own more than 50%. Like, I need the promotion. I have a really good idea. You got the money. I give you like a big share of my company. Bro, I couldn't bring myself to actually make that deal. Because he's like, yo, I'll just keep pushing it, and you just like guide me, and you promote it sometime. And I'm like, bruh, you have no idea what you're doing. You have no idea what you're doing. I want to ask you this question, Jeremy. There's a rapper right now, very, very talented.
You should ask me if I would have took that deal or not, but go ahead.
Check this out. And this is a conversation that I've been having, man. A rapper, they're really, really good from their city. And they meet a big record executive. Now, the kid is very, 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 very talented. And a record exec sees that this person has talent. And like the kid is broke. He ain't got no money. He ain't got nothing but talent. Is it right that the executive, they put all the money in there into the project, they promote them, and the person blows up? But when they blow up, they don't own any of their art. They only took the money. I would like your perspective of that scenario, because that happens all the time.
Yeah, so shout out to United Masters. Shout out to Steve Stout and all the homies there is doing great things. I'll say this. I do not think that that's the right thing to do. It's not illegal, but like morally, it's like, yo, you don't know any better. And so that's unfortunate. As that record exec, I would have a hard time sleeping at night. But I mean, that's the way that the industry in the world is. But I think another question would be is, you can have a current deal, right? Because they might not, and like it's one thing to say, is it wrong for them to take the big piece and give this artist a small piece? That's a whole nother conversation. But to own their gifts, to own their talent, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't do that deal, and I would not advise anybody that I know would love to do that deal. But at the same time, it's almost like me creating an NFT and I'm gonna sell it. It's like, yo, I created this, or it's like me creating a piece of artwork. You got some really dope artwork behind you. That came from me, bro. I made that canvas, I stapled it, I made the wood frame, I got the oils, I did the painting. Like, that's me. That came from here, that came from here, that came from here. And I sell it to you. Well, once I sold it to you, like, that's a wrap. It's no longer mine. And so it's the same way when it comes to music. If you do not have those things in place, capitalism, people are going to take advantage of you. If that guy came to me and I thought that business plan was super, super fire, and I was like, you really offering me 60-40? I'll take 51% so I can kind of control and make sure you don't do nothing dodo. And when this thing blow up and I triple my investment, I don't mind doing 75-25 and give you the bigger piece. You know what I'm saying? But it got to be a super, super fire idea. But that's just my take on that as well.
Here's the argument though.
Okay.
This super talented kid is working at Publix. All they have is talent. And if it keeps going this way, they will be a 50-year-old man or 50-year-old woman with talent and a bunch of good talent and stories they could have told their friends about. Now, the executive is taking on 100% of the risk.
Right.
So why doesn't this executive deserve a bigger piece? Why? Like, yo, if I'm Jeremy, you there?
Yeah.
I lost you. And so for everybody, as Jeremy's coming back, I want y'all to think about it. So they talk about all these executives that took advantage of these artists in like the 90s and early 2000s. But if they didn't step in, who knows? This person would have just been talent. Nobody knew the person. They never had a chance to travel the world and be known and all that kind of stuff. So my question to you is, Jeremy, how is that unfair?
So,
and I'm taking all of the risk.
And I'm not saying they shouldn't have the big piece. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that, but I would not want someone to own. It's like, hey, you can use the music, you can license it, but we're having different conversations now. And I feel like this is why your all's conference, the Black Equity Con, is so special and so important and so necessary, so mandatory. We got to protect this conference and be at this conference at all costs, right? It's because we're having different conversations now because we've sat back and we've seen how the sports agents, you know what I'm saying, or sports players are not getting nearly what they could have got paid years ago, and people in the music industry, etc. Right? And so we understand that now. The same thing when it comes to blacks, when it comes to tech and Silicon Valley and the investments and that type of thing. Like, we see that now. So that's why these conversations are important. So I don't think it's but I understand why that investor, why that executive is like, hey, I'm taking on all the risks. You could be on tour with your homies and somebody could end up getting hurt. Something could end up happening. You know what I'm saying? Like, something could go wrong and I can lose a whole bunch of money. So I'm not mad at the exec getting the big piece if they have all the skin in the game. It's just that ownership piece. I feel better when we say, hey, we can partner this thing out, but like, let me own that piece. And that's kind of where I am.
Gotcha. You structure that some sort of like equity split or like revenue split with like some of your students, right?
Yeah. So we have people that's in our speakers academy. So we have our speakers academy, right, where we train people on how to become successful professional speakers. And then we have a speakers elite program, and that's like an inner circle. They get to travel with me on speaking engagements. I pass them connects. We're doing a TED Talk in Miami in a couple of days. So I've got some of them that'll be doing that TED Talk with me. So I have a thing set up where not only can I recommend speaking engagements and they get that, and it's almost like we have like an internal speakers bureau, but now those that are in the educational space, they now can partner with us with the curriculum. Because my thing is, why go and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars like we did to create a curriculum and years of doing it? We have one. You're within our company, in our organization. We'll build our curriculum on your website and frame it as if it's yours because you're a part of our team now, and then you get a small percentage. Why? Because and we don't have to do that. That's just my heart, bro. I want to put people on. And I really believe in our product. And my thing is like, how can we get this out here to connect with the best people? And how can I put my community in the best position to win financially? So when I tell this to my friends, they're like, bro, that's unheard of. I'm like, well, that's what I'm trying to do because I want to level the playing fields as much as possible.
Would you ever give some equity on your name?
I've never thought about that.
You know, some people, they don't. I think somebody owned Kanye's name and he had to change his name to Ye or something like that. I was like some artists contractually, they don't own their own name. Actually, Prince didn't own his own name. That's why he had to change his name to the artist formerly known as.
I thought he was just being different. Okay. That's deep.
Yeah. Ownership, bro. Ownership.
I wonder if that's why Chad Ochocinco changed his name to Ocho Cinco.
I don't know. But could anyone ever own everything that you do moving forward?
Nah. No. So you say no, because it's like ethically, it's like, nah, I'll work for this. But if Elon Musk pulled up and was like, Jay, come on, bro. I see what you're doing. I'm about to take your curriculum and everything else and put it on the moon, bro. $3 billion. Bro, let me tell you what I'm thinking about. Let me tell you. When I went to South Africa the first time, they named me May Lucy anyway, which means the shepherd. I messed around and changed my name legally to May Lucy. You know, you talking about $3 billion? Because I know what to do with it. You feel me? So, you know, you say no. But at the right time, it also depends on like, who are these people? I cannot conceive somebody saying, bro, I want to come in and buy your whole name. Like, what that look like? Like, you want to buy out the Jeremy Anderson group, but as you build this thing up as a company, this is something I'm going to pass to my children. Bro, I asked my daughter, I said, boo-boo, after high school, you know, I'm asking her, you want to go to Oakwood? You want to go to Alabama A&M? Where you want to go to Spelman Morehouse? She's like, I ain't working. She was like, I'm going to run next level. I was like, whoa. My little girl, she 9, bro. She on something like, I ain't going to college. That's what she said. Not I'm working. She's like, I ain't going to college. I'm gonna run the next level, or I'm gonna start my own company.
So her objective is to run next level. Would you ever sell next level for the right number? If your daughter's aspiration is to do that, would you sell it? You would never sell it. 100 M's.
It would 100 M's. You better swap out that M for a B, bro. 100. Let me tell you something. Here's the reality. And you know how we best to do. It's like you look at the money now. It's like actually 100 million. We could probably hit that in about 4 or 5 years. You know what I'm saying? Like
talk spicy.
It's not. I'm saying it's not that far stretched. Like when you look at all the different companies and all the different entities, and you like, and we at this phase, and this is what we're doing now, and I haven't even implemented this. I only got 100,000 followers. You know what I'm saying? Like when you know people who are there, and so yeah, it would have to be a B, bro. You know what I'm saying? And then I would have to talk to my wife, because my wife might be like, "Negro, please, you did this." You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
Because here's one thing that's savvy. Somebody could come in and say, and I don't know if Steve Harvey would ever sell his name, the Steve Harvey Network or whatever. He had a show called The Steve Harvey Show. So before people feel a certain way, he had a show, The Steve Harvey Show, right? But he didn't even own the rights to that show. So some could be like, bro, you didn't even own I seen his interview. He was like, bro, you didn't even own the rights to that show. And so it's a lot we learned from Uncle Steve. So even if somebody does say, you know what, I am going to shell, you know what I'm saying, David Shan's Enterprises, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, yo, I'm just going to boom even harder with Social Proof, or I'm going to boom even harder for Sleeping for Suckers, or I'm going to boom even harder for this. You know what I'm saying? So just because they own that name, it's just like, yo, can you keep up with that? But there is something that's saying, man, this stays within my family. There is something that says, man, I can't be bought. There is something that says that when my nephews graduate and my nephews get to a point, you're going to always have a place. Like I got people, bro, that work for our company. They literally tell me all the time they're retiring from our company. So I got to hold on to that, bro. It's literally people that I convinced to quit their jobs and to leave other places, or they was like, yo, bro, I believe enough in what you got going on where I feel like I'm going to quit my job. I've had 4 people that work for our company right now that started off saying, we know you can't even afford to pay us right now. I'm going to quit my job and work full time for you, and I'm believing God can provide. Now, when they say that, my first thought is we finna be blessed because God will definitely bless you and take care of you. So it's naturally more that's about to come to us. But that's their heart. What I look like later, saying for a big check, hey, I'm gonna have to let that thing go. But if I did, to flip it, I know I'm messing with some of y'all's head. If I did, I'm cashing them out. Cashing them out. Here you go, Eb. Here go $3 million. You do what you're supposed to do with it. You'll never have to work again. But don't be mad at me if you end up back as a teacher in 6 years because you run through the $3 million. You feel me? So it's so many different ways that you can look at it. And it really depends on your family dynamic, your personal dynamic, you know what I'm saying, and what you have going on, what you have to offer.
Are you investing in other companies at all in terms of like people? Are you doing any venture capital, angel?
So that's something Chris wants to do. I want to do that at the right time. I don't want to do it just because I know some others are doing it. I want to really be calculated with it, but that is one of our missions. It's 2 more entities that I want to start and build up because there's a great need. There's a great demand for it. So there are 2 other entities that we want to start before the end of this year. And then when that gets up and running, and it's clearing a couple million, you know what I'm saying, like naturally every year, then I can wrap my mind around saying, now let's buy out some more. But I got 2 more things within here and here that I'm like, let's go ahead and get that going. Then we can look at some other things. But that is on the plan. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, hey, listen, y'all. We will be June 9th and 10th. We're having Black Equity Conversations in preparation for the Black Equity Conference. You can go to blackequitycon.com, blackequitycon.com. Y'all heard Jeremy say he's going to be there, so yeah, listen, we definitely clearing out a spot so y'all can hear this man, one of the best speakers I ever met in my life or heard in my life, but literally, I would have to say the best speaking coach on earth. I can say that.
Love.
I can say that. You know, I'm not capping. You know it. Yeah, you're being humble with it, but you want to say, yeah, you're right. Yo, last thing, I want to know the do you license your curriculum? Yeah. Mm-hmm. You do? Mm-hmm. So can you kind of give me some numbers behind that and how you do that?
Ooh, you want all the
I told you from the very beginning. I need to know.
Leave it for Sands to want all the game. All right, so it's 2. So when we talk about licensing our curriculum, there are 2 different types of licensing deals. There are some school districts that say, Jeremy, I want to just purchase. I will grab them, but I don't want to get off camera again. But I want to just purchase.
Nah, go grab it. We here now. We here now. Listen, y'all. blackequitycon.com. Y'all need to go meet me June 9th and 10th. 3,000 plus other creators. June 9th and 10th, 2022. blackequitycon.com. We got it. These are the conversations our community is not having. So talk to us, Jay.
Yeah. So if somebody comes and says, hey, we want to purchase, your next level students curriculum, you know what I'm saying, like the individual books, for our students, if they say, hey, we want to purchase the physical books, it's like, okay, you buy those flat out because they're consumables. But if you want to say, hey, I want to just purchase the licensing for a year. So it's like, okay, there's a set price here, $6,000. You have it for the whole school. We send you the electronic files. You go in and you log in online and you have access to all of it. And if you sign a 3-year contract, it's $6,000 licensing for the first year, $5,000 for the second, and $4,000 for the third year. Because for us, it's a click. We give you the resources. It bless your whole school throughout the year, but we're done and we're out of it. It don't cost us nothing. We ain't got to print books. We ain't got to ship it. Like that part is smooth. Now, if there is a company,
and you said, and that's just digital.
That's just digital, yeah.
So you create the curriculum, and you license it. You let somebody hold it for a little bit. They pay you, and then you take it back after they done using it.
Yeah, it's just in the schools particularly. So you got two options. So you can have the David Shan School of Entrepreneurship that says, "Hey, Jeremy, we want your middle school curriculum." And you might say, "Hey, I've got 1,000 students," and I'm like, "All right, well, the books are $24.99 per book per student for the year. But if you get it school right, we'll discount it 20%. So now it's only $20 per student. So you got 1,000 students, you need 1,000 books at $20. That's $20,000. So some schools is like, bet. They love that because they want the kids to be able to have it, flip through it, journal through it, etc. But then you have some schools that's like, I can't swing 20,000 for the physical book. Do you have any other option? Then we say, hey, we have our digital option at $6,000, and the kids can log in and access it from their tablet. So some schools, they're like, man, this is amazing. You know what I'm saying? That's a fraction of the price. And then some is like, nah, I'll just pay the 33 bands or the 42,000 or the 18,000, however many students they have. And I want the physical books. And then some say, nah, I'll just take the $6,000 and just get digital. So it's a win-win for us either way.
Dang, that's crazy.
And then, but here's my next part. And this is our next level because there's always another level to it. The next level now is to have companies like the big dogs like McGraw-Hill, those billion-dollar companies. Yeah. It's for them to say, wow, Jimmy, your curriculum is diverse. You got Black, Hispanic, you know what I'm saying, Indian, Muslim, like you got different people from different walks of life. You know what I'm saying? Like your topics are relevant, it's current. As opposed to us creating one, we would like to license it and take care of our, you know what I'm saying, 18,000 schools that we're in. That's why I'm like, man, I can't sell because 100 million ain't like, oh my God, I already know what y'all could do. I wouldn't even be surprised if we looked up 3 years from now. It's 132,000 schools in America. Let's just do some numbers for the people real quick.
Talk spicy, Jay.
It's 132,000 schools in America. I told my team, I said, our goal should be to get our curriculum in 2% of the schools in America. I looked my team in the face and said, is it possible? With the capital we have, with the influence we have, with the connects we have, I've been in this educational space for over 10 years now. Is it possible to get our curriculum, which we know is changing lives? I got teachers that would email us and be like, I was choked up and I was emotional. I even grew and learned. Healing took place within my heart. This our doggone company so anointed, bro. I'm sitting back thinking like, okay, 132,000 schools in America. 1% of those schools is 1,300. 2% of the schools in America is 2,600. Let's just say that those 2,600 schools, let's just say for whatever reason, now we know half the schools want the physical books. Half of them want the physical books, right? Half of them want the physical books. The other half can't afford the physical books, so they get the digital. But let's just say, for whatever reason, because I like to underpromise and severely overdeliver, let's just say those 2,600 schools only get digital. That's 2,600 times 6,000. That's $15,600,000. 15. That's only if 2% of the schools in America. That's only 2% of the schools in America, and that's not physical. Again, I had a school. One of our last deals, they had 1,200 students. Well, you multiply 1,200 times $20 per student. That's a purchase order of $24,000. We just got another purchase order in for like $33,000 or $35,000. That's just 15.6 million if just 2% of the schools in America only get digital.
And the way you set it up, that's a $15 million click of a button.
We ain't got to ship nothing.
Sin.
I ain't got to print nothing. The cost of paper is high. So yeah.
Amazing. Last one, man. The people who wrote the curriculum, did you cash them out or did they get some sort of rev share in that?
So because I knew how big the curriculum was going to be, I was down to give them a piece of it. So I met with one of our guys, and he's got his PhD, and he has been. You hear that? We good, you?
Yeah, no, you good.
Okay, I heard the echo. He taught me the whole curriculum game and kind of helped structure ours. And he told me, he's hey Jeremy, $3-4 grand, $5 at the max if you really wanted to bless us for the amount of work coming in. So when I wrote my first curriculum, I did it all myself. It was a curriculum, 52 modules, lessons, all of that. For whether you was in sixth grade or high school, it was pretty much for middle and high school students, but it was just like one main one. Then I felt from a superintendent, she was just like, oh, Jeremy, I love the curriculum. I want it for my whole district. We was in Texas. She was like, but what do the kids read next year? Do they just keep reading it over and over again? I was like, oh, wow. I was like, no. Next year we'll have one every grade level. She was like, okay, well, by golly, sign the contract. I walked up out of that thing and like, I can't believe I just said that. I was like, I ain't got time to write. It took everything out of me. It took 2 years of my life to write this one curriculum that could be spread across the. God said, you don't have time, but you got a team. And I thought of all the excellent, amazing teachers of the years and principals and social workers, counselors, people I have in the educational space that operate with the spirit of excellence. I got 10 of them. I put together a super team, and I had two options. I can cash you out, shoot you $5,000. Here's the framework. This is how we building it out. Or for the next couple of years, not for life, for the next couple of years, you can get a percentage of the sales. And that's the contract that we drew up. And I remember having somebody on my team like, bruh, no, it could have just, bro, you could have just paid $5,000. They getting $30,000, $40,000. They made so much. I don't care. Part of something monumental. Right? I don't mind giving you a piece of it. I could have just paid you $5,000 and you'd have been super happy. That was some summertime work you put together and you was done with it and we own it, right? But I was just like, I want you to be a part of it. So that's something that we put together today.
Man, I think this conversation is so needed, Jay. I think this conversation, we're not having too many conversations about ownership or creating something that's valuable enough that people will believe in it and want to have some sort of part in it. Like, yo, if you help out with an organization that is winning, you have a stake. And sometimes it's not that they're contractually owners, but when you add so much value to something, you can almost demand what you want. Yeah. Right? There's some people that I know that they're super valuable. If they came into your office right now, like, yo, I'm helping you make a whole lot of money. I need like 2%. 2% me. It's a conversation. Mm-hmm. So, but people don't look at that like, yo, they feel like they got to be the boss. They got to be like the head honcho, when really you add enough value, you build up equity in the company. Sometimes you build up equity in somebody's heart, right? You own a piece of your wife's heart, and you ain't got as much equity as you think you got just yet, right? But it's going to take years, another 10 years, you get more equity in her heart. And that's how I'm looking at another 20 years, I get more equity, more ownership where, listen, I'm cemented here, right? Yeah. So that's the last thing I want to talk about is equity in relationships. How do you build relational equity?
So for me, man, it is rare when I get a gift. I don't know why, I just don't get gifts.
I don't really get gifts either, man.
Yeah, but I give so much. Right? I am quick to have some flowers or edible arrangement or a piece of art or somebody brings some food. Like, I'm with the people I love and care about and rock with. You better not lose a loved one. You better not have a baby. You better not have a surgery. Like, I'm just big on that, and I'm just big on relationships, and I'm big on adding value. And I just know what's gonna come back to me. I'm not looking like, well, if I do this for you, all right, what you gonna do for me? I'm just like, yo, I've gotten to where I am in life because of the energy that I put out here and because of how I treat people. I put some on Instagram earlier, and I told the people, I said, hey, the reason why I'm so blessed by God is because I continue to bless my wife. Right. And so I give her grace because I want him to give me grace. I'm patient with my wife because I want him to be patient with me. I try to spoil my wife because I want God to be patient with me. So I'm real intentional about saying, okay, how can I add value to others and how can I add value, saying to my family? So when it comes to equity and relationships, I try to overgive. I'm you know what I'm saying? Like, you already know, bro, if we go out to eat, me, you, Marcus, we go out to eat, bro, I'm trying to get the tab. I'm trying to get the check. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care. Like, I'm gonna slip my card first. I might even get sneaky nowadays. I'm calling ahead of time. And whoever answers the phone, if you make this deal go through, I'm gonna cash out you $50 when I get there. Do not let one of my friends slip you their card first. I'm just wired to give. It's better to give than to receive. And I believe, right, that when you give, it shall be given back to you. Pressed down, shaken together, running over. And that's why I feel like I'm living a life of abundance. I'm always looking at how can I bless other people. And I never looked at it like equity in their heart or equity in their mind. I'm just always looking like how can I add to what you have going on.
Yep, 100%. Yo, Jeremy, man, thank you so much, man. Somebody just asked, where's the link for EquityCon? Just go to blackequitycon.com, blackequitycon.com. Listen, and I'm going to give y'all a quick secret, all right? Just use promo code social proof. I give you 20% off right now. Go to use promo code social proof. Real quick. We ain't going to say that too loud. Go to blackequitycon.com. Get your tickets. We want to see you and 3,000 other entrepreneurs from all across the country, 40, 50 plus speakers. You have never, ever, ever seen this many Black millionaires, multimillionaires all in one place. You've never seen it ever. I'm guaranteeing you that. This is something for the history books for them to write about. All right, so listen, man, go to blackequitycon.com. Check it out. Also, my brother Jeremy got an event coming up before Black Equity Con, so y'all can actually meet both of us before Black Equity Con. So, Jeremy, tell us about the event, bro.
Yeah, our Next Level Speakers Conference. For those of you all that's interested in being a motivational speaker, inspirational speaker, professional speaker, you want to learn the marketing, the branding, the business side of it, how to get your message, your story out here, how to monetize your message. I'm going to show you how you can live a life of purpose and make profit. I'm going to show you how you can make some really good income, by making a major impact out here in the world. So it's going to be at the Marriott Marquis right here in Atlanta, Georgia, April 30th to May 2nd, nextlevelspeakersconference.com.
Make sure y'all tap in on my brother Jeremy. And how do they find you, bro?
Instagram, 1 Jeremy Anderson, Jeremy, 1 Jeremy Anderson. I'm right there.
I love it. Y'all remember when you came up when you made that? You remember it was something. What was it before? It was something else.
Hey, you ready for it? 256 Jeremy.
Yeah. I remember. I think we had a conversation like, why is that your handle, bro?
Yeah, and I know that was years ago. I was like, I don't know. I live in 256 Huntsville, baby. He's like, yeah, you should probably change that. Yeah. But somebody had the regular Jeremy Anderson, and I wasn't gonna do the real Jeremy or Jeremy. I just put one there.
Right, I ain't bad, man. Make sure y'all follow my brother Jeremy Anderson. And last thing, man, I want you to just take us out with a word of when it comes to ownership and equity, something that the people can take with them, something that they could post on Instagram tonight. Close us out with a strong word of wisdom, brother.
Yeah, I like that. So I'll say this, just thinking about, saying crossover from equity, like you have to have something in possession. All right, so what do we have in possession? You know what I'm saying? Like before we talk about equity, before you're able to give somebody a piece or a portion of something to help them out, you got to have something. That means we got to be able to pour out. We got to be able to give. So now you have to focus on you, right? You got to take ownership of your actions. You got to take ownership of your responsibilities. You got to take ownership of the decisions that you make every single day. You got to take ownership of your thoughts and your mind. You got to be disciplined and locked in on the mission that's been placed in front of you. Like that's your responsibility. And when you do that, you're going to continue to grow. You're going to continue to expand, and you're going to have more. You're going to be able to achieve more. You're going to be able to attain more. And that's going to put you in another position to be able to bless other people. That's going to put you in another position to be able to open up doors for other people. But you can't do for them if you're not first doing for yourself. So I understand why we in airplanes, they say in case of emergency, you secure your oxygen mask on before you help the next person. You secure your oxygen mask by making sure you own your name, your likeness, you know what I'm saying? Your brand, your identity, your heart, your spirit, your decisions. You make sure you do the absolute best that you can do within you. And as you grow and as you expand, you'll be able to look out for others.
I love it. Jeremy, I appreciate you, my brother. Listen, man, make sure y'all tap in with Jeremy Anderson, Next Level Speakers program coming up, the conference. I will be there speaking. Also make sure y'all get your tickets to blackequitycon.com. We are in Miami, beautiful Miami. Listen, we've been inside for the last 2 years, y'all. It's time to come outside, go to as many events as you can, connect with as many people as you can, because this is going to be the year that you break that 6 figures. This is the year that you break that $500,000. This is the year you break that 7, 8, 9 figure mark. Nobody else has ever made as much money as you're going to make right now in your family. This is the year. All right. So, Jeremy, I appreciate you, my brother. Love you. I'll see you on Black Equity Con.
Yeah.